So what is this? I'm right here before an iconostasis. An iconostasis is basically a wall of icons. The images that you see are icons. You might have seen other icons that portray different things. Those of you who have been following the vlog, you know that I showed you an icon of Jesus rising from the dead. These very special paintings it's really a form of prayer to paint them. And so in the Eastern Church, the Eucharist is celebrated, and these sacred events are hidden in a sense behind an iconostasis. An iconostasis, this beautiful wall of icons. It actually has a rich history. There was a time back in the East, a long time ago, I think in the 500s, 600s, 4 to 600s, a period where there was what was called Iconoclasm, basically where people were destroying the images, thinking that they weren't appropriate, that people were worshipping these images. And there were saints who came out to speak, saying that no, this is Christ, God became man, and so we have this ability to represent holy things, and they're helpful to the faith. So they were done in such a way that it would like when they finally triumphed and removed the people who were doing such bad things, they said, we're never going to go down this road again, and so they incorporated these beautiful icons or images in all of their liturgy. But what in the world does it mean when I say Eastern? There are two kind of main classifications of being Catholic. There are Eastern and Western. We're familiar with Western, what's called the Roman Rite. But as we think about the Mass in these days, we realize that there's also another celebration of the Mass by what's called the Eastern, or those who are united with us, we would call Byzantine. So Byzantine Catholics, they're as Catholic as you and me, but they're not Roman Catholic. And so the way they celebrate the Mass or the Divine Liturgy is different. Many similarities, but it's still different. One of the things that is different about it is that there's a tremendous amount of chanting during the liturgy. Also, when they distribute communion, they actually take a little spoon and they dip Jesus' body, right, bread that's turned into his body, and they dip that into his precious blood, and then they put it on your tongue. And so to receive, you can't receive with your hand, you actually have to receive with your tongue, and because it's a spoon and they pour it, kind of drop it off into your mouth, you actually have to stick your tongue out and lift your head back so they can put it in there. I know some of these things because one of my professors at the seminary was bi-ritual, meaning he could celebrate Mass in the Roman Rite like we would understand, as well as this Byzantine Rite. Now, there's also what's called the Orthodox. I'm giving you all these names that you maybe heard of but had no idea what they mean. Orthodox is the Eastern Rite as well, but they're not in union with Rome. We still consider them Catholic in many respects. They understand the seven sacraments and all of this. They just struggle with understanding that the Pope has a certain authority. It actually dates back to divisions that happened in 1054 that were mostly political, but have never been completely kind of healed yet. But for all practical purposes, they're very Catholic, and we can actually go to one of their services and even receive communion if we can't, if we don't have access to a Catholic, Roman Catholic, or Byzantine Catholic service, and they allow us to do so. So, like I said, they're very, very close. Pope John Paul II described it as like two lungs that we breathe out of, and we need these lungs both reunited in a special way. How did this all come about? Well, it came about because the apostles that were sent by Jesus went to different parts of the world. And as they went to different parts of the world, they different customs, I spoke before about enculturation happened. And there was this two kind of main areas of the world, the East and the West, and so different customs, different kind of ways of celebrating began to evolve. There's one of the Eucharistic prayers that we pray that actually comes from this Eastern rite. It's what's called Eucharistic prayer number 4. It was written by St. John Chrysostom, who lived in Constantinople in, I believe, the 300s, or early 400s, anyway, in that period of time. And so it's kind of like a taste. It sounds a little bit different than the other prayers, so maybe you sometimes hear me use that Eucharistic prayer. So anyway, I thought it might be valuable as we reflect upon the Mass to think about this whole dynamic of the East and the West, and to know that our faith is very diverse, but very, very beautiful.